Wars have often been the grandest of tragedies, the scenes where humanity's noblest qualities and its darkest instincts collide. Among these, war crimes stand as the most horrifying acts, a grim testament to the depths we can plunge when empathy and compassion are discarded. So what exactly are war crimes? At their most basic, they are serious violations of the laws and customs of war, actions that defy the principles of humanity, morality, and respect for human life and dignity. They range from the use of prohibited weapons and tactics to the mistreatment and abuse of civilians and prisoners of war. These acts shake the very foundations of our shared human values, casting long and chilling shadows on our past. Yet they are not mere footnotes of history, collecting dust in the archives. They are significant, for they serve as stark reminders of the horrors we must strive to prevent. Globally, the perspective on war crimes has evolved over the decades. Today, we stand united in our condemnation of these atrocities. International bodies like the United Nations and the International Criminal Court work tirelessly to prosecute those responsible, aiming to provide justice for the victims and deter future violations. However, amidst the countless tales of war and conflict, some narratives remain overlooked, their grim realities often shrouded by the mists of time and politics. These are the unseen faces of war, the stories that challenge us to confront the uncomfortable truths of our past and reckon with the demons of our collective history. One such atrocity remains deeply buried within the annals of the Second World War, an event so horrifying, so unimaginable, that it defies comprehension. It's a tale of inhumanity and brutality, a story that unveils a terrifying facet of human nature. We're about to delve into the dark and largely unspoken chapter of the Japanese war crimes, Unit 731. What if I told you that there was a secret unit that committed unthinkable atrocities, all in the name of science? This is not the stuff of dystopian novels or blockbuster movies. This was the chilling reality of Unit 731, a covert biological and chemical warfare research and development unit of the Imperial Japanese Army during the Second World War. Unit 731 was born out of a dark intersection between science, militarism, and imperial ambition. It was the brainchild of Lieutenant General Shiro Ishii, a medical officer in the Japanese Army, who was fascinated with the potential of biological warfare. His obsession, combined with the Japanese imperialistic ideology of the time, created the perfect storm for the establishment of this horrendous unit. The primary purpose of Unit 731 was to develop deadly biological and chemical weapons to aid Japan's war efforts. To achieve this, they conducted inhuman experiments on living human beings, most of whom were Chinese, Koreans, Malaysians, Indonesians, Filipinos, and Indo-Chinese, including Western prisoners of war. The Japanese government, fueled by a ruthless ambition to expand its empire, turned a blind eye to the brutalities of Unit 731. The leaders of the unit were given free rein to pursue their goals, irrespective of the human cost. These leaders, like their government, were driven by a warped sense of nationalism that justified their actions in the name of scientific progress and military dominance. But the birth of Unit 731 was not just a product of one man's obsession or a government's ambition. It was a reflection of a broader imperialistic ideology that permeated Japanese society at the time. This ideology, which valued power and dominance above human life, allowed Unit 731 to exist and operate with impunity. So we find ourselves looking at one of the darkest chapters in human history, where science was twisted to serve the grotesque ambitions of a militaristic empire. With the stage set, the horrors of Unit 731 were about to unfold. Imagine being subjected to the most inhumane experiments, all while being treated as less than human. In the heart of Harbin, China, stood Unit 731, the epicenter of a horror story that unfolded during the Second Sino-Japanese War. Here, under the guise of a water purification facility, unfolded one of the darkest chapters of human history. The men, women, and children who found themselves within the walls of Unit 731 were not seen as people, but as test subjects. They were stripped of their identities and referred to only by numbers. They were the unwilling participants in a range of biological and chemical experiments that pushed the boundaries of human cruelty. Unit 731 was home to a variety of horrific experiments. Vivisections performed without anesthesia, forced pregnancies, and pathogen exposure were but a few of the atrocities committed within these walls. These experiments were not for the advancement of medical science. They were designed to create the most effective means of biological warfare with no regard for the human cost. The victims of Unit 731 came from all walks of life. Chinese, Koreans, Malaysians, Indonesians, Filipinos, Indo-Chinese, and even Western prisoners of war found themselves trapped within this nightmare. Each one, a life full of hopes, dreams, and potential, reduced to a number and subjected to unimaginable pain and suffering. The conditions within Unit 731 were beyond horrifying. Sanitation was virtually non-existent, and disease was rampant. Food and water were scarce, and the fear of what each new day would bring was a constant companion. Despite the unbearable conditions and the knowledge of their impending doom, the victims of Unit 731 clung to life with a tenacity that defies comprehension. The scale of these atrocities was vast, affecting millions across Asia. The echoes of their suffering still resonate today, a chilling reminder of the depths of cruelty that humanity can sink to when empathy and compassion are cast aside. What happens when the world discovers such a monstrous secret? In the wake of World War II, as the dust settled and the smoke cleared, the sinister veil shrouding Unit 731 was finally lifted. The international community recoiled in shock and horror as the extent of the atrocities committed by the Japanese military unit came to light. It was a grim revelation, unveiling a chapter of war that had been kept hidden behind the curtains of conflict. The world's reaction was swift and unequivocal. The Allied powers, fresh from the victory against the Axis, were faced with the daunting task of seeking justice for the millions of victims. Trials were held, mirroring those of Nuremberg and Tokyo, where the architects of these war crimes were brought to account. Yet the scale of the horrors perpetrated by Unit 731 was so vast that it seemed impossible to fully mete out the justice deserved. In the aftermath of these trials, the world was left to grapple with the legacy of Unit 731. The crimes committed were not just against the individuals who suffered directly, but against humanity itself. They echoed through the halls of history, leaving an indelible mark on the collective conscience of mankind. The countries most affected by these atrocities, China, Korea, Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines, and Indochina, bore the brunt of this grim legacy. Their societies were shaped by the collective trauma, their histories forever marred by the scars of Unit 731. They had to rebuild from the ashes, carrying the weight of the past while striving to move forward into a future free from the specter of such horrors. Yet, amidst the darkness, there were stories of resilience and hope. Stories of survivors who, despite enduring the unthinkable, managed to rebuild their lives. Their spirit and determination served as a beacon of light, a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. The scars of Unit 731 still linger, a grim reminder of the depths humanity can sink to in times of war. But they also serve as a stark warning, a clarion call to the world, to ensure that such atrocities are never repeated in the history of mankind. So why is it important to know about Unit 731? As we delve into the depths of history, we unearth truths that are often uncomfortable yet crucial. Unit 731, a dark chapter in the annals of war, serves as a stark reminder of humanity's capacity for cruelty. This isn't merely about dredging up the past, it's about learning from it. The role of historians in this endeavor is paramount. By meticulously piecing together fragments of the past, they preserve the truth, ensuring it's not lost or manipulated. Yet the responsibility doesn't lie solely with them. Each of us, as members of the global community, has a part to play in remembering and acknowledging these atrocities. In the end, it's about more than just remembering, it's about understanding. Understanding the depths to which humanity can sink, but also the heights to which we can rise. when we choose to learn from our past. Remembering Unit 731 is not just about unearthing a dark chapter of history, but also about ensuring that such horrors are never repeated.